So it is Friday afternoon, April 4th, 2025, 4 p.m. Our last time together. It'll be short. So I'd like to read the Gospel from the Easter Vigil, which those questions and everything are on page 10 if you would like to look at those. But let's just listen to the Gospel together for the Easter Vigil, which is from Luke 24, 1-12. At daybreak on the first day of the week, the women who had come from Galilee with Jesus took the spices they had prepared and went to the tomb. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb. But when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were puzzling over this, behold, two men in dazzling garments appeared to them. They were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground. They said to them, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but he has been raised. Remember what he said to you while he was still in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be handed over to sinners and be crucified and rise on the third day." They remembered his words. When they returned from the tomb and announced all these things to the 11 and all the others, the women were Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James. The others who accompanied them also told this to the apostles. But their story seemed like nonsense, and they did not believe them. But Peter got up and ran to the tomb, bent down, and saw the burial cloths alone. Then he went home amazed at what had happened. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear sisters, we come to the moment of the resurrection of Jesus. And if it wouldn't have been for the women, maybe the others wouldn't have known. The first night, last Sunday night, remember, it seemed like about 3 weeks ago, we talked about that incredible beauty and awe of an exchange of hearts with Jesus. I invite you into Easter to see for yourself. I invite you into peering into the empty tomb with your own eyes and heart, that you may be released of the struggles that have brought you this far, and be released of the doubt that has hindered your path. Easter is about an awakening. It's about a seeing. I also want to go back for that moment which we tended to on Sunday night of the gift of our own baptismal life. We are Paschal people. We have been born into the dying and rising of Jesus. The problem is, we think life should be one way or the other. That it should be on the left or on the right. That it either should be right or wrong. Or that it should be our way or the highway. What life really is none of those things. None of them. But what life is that we are centered on the Paschal mystery. There are many arguments about the Christian life today. Many arguments even more about what religious life is today. We are bearers of many questions and even more answers. And we want to fall on one side or the other, in the popular camp or not. The problem is that religious life is none of those things. Religious life should be based on the glory of that tomb that was empty. And it should be brought into the light that Jesus' passion, death, and resurrection is our home. What does it mean for us to live a Paschal life? To be glorified in the gift of his dying and rising. That's the identity of our following. We have gone astray when we think life should be one way or the other. It's not that we don't have our own talents and gifts and vision, but make sure that the ultimate identity, even of the Sisters of St. Agnes, lie not in the barriers that we put up with one another, or the sides that we want to put each other on, but that we rest in the dying and rising of Jesus. How do we learn to see it? How do we learn to live it? And how do we learn to quit complaining about it? It is, and it always has been, a spot within our heart that allows us to see. We have to keep that flame of faith alive because it warms us. We tend the fires of the dying and rising of Jesus because it is the mystery in which our salvation is born. It is the mission of our baptismal life and our professed life that calls us home. As I said on Sunday as well, the gift of our baptismal life and our religious life is not the duty that we've done. The goal has been all along whether or not our hearts are transformed by it. The Lenten season, as it is lived throughout the church, throughout the world, is about a transformation of people and catechumens, the elect, to get to the Easter Vigil. It's about a transformation of life. It's not about what we do, or what we accomplish, or whether or not we're right or wrong, or whether or not we have all the right answers to all of the right questions. But it is whether or not we are changed by it. When Jesus comes on your deathbed, I am convinced that he'll want to know one thing. Have you been changed by me? He will say. Has your heart been opened because you believed? He's not going to care about what you did in any institution, or whether or not you kept the rules, or taught all the classrooms correctly, or even ministered among the sick without hesitation. What he's going to ask you is, have you been changed by me? What he's going to see in your heart is that. And that's what I hope that you can continue from Easter Day. I also spent 5 years living in Burbank, California, in one of our parishes that we had founded, and I was the last associate pastor there before we gave it up. This is a crazy little story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. It was on a Sunday morning, and I was preaching at all the masses. And I was also going to have company for dinner that night, and there was some stuff that I still needed to get from the grocery store. The store opened at 6, and the first Mass was at 7. So I hightailed it down to the grocery store as they were opening the door. At 6 a.m., I grabbed a cart and ran down the aisle to the produce department, got what I needed, and I was turning a corner. There was the floral department there. And it was almost as if the cart, the shopping cart, had a mind of its own. It went directly to this lily. It stopped. I stopped. It was the most beautiful lily I had ever seen. You can tell I still get emotional thinking about that crazy lily. But there was something there that was beyond the lily. I stood in front of this lily at 6:05 a.m. on a Sunday morning in this grocery store and cried. It was so beautiful. It was something that I couldn't change. It was something that I had nothing to do with. I had no part of its growth or maturity. I had no part of it being there in front of me. But all I had to do was to behold its beauty. I'm so glad there was nobody else there around me. I go back to that lily in my prayer all the time, because I think that lily was an image for me of being able to stop and to see, to be able to behold life without my trying to control it or change it or wish it was something different. I didn't wish the lily was a different color, a different style. I didn't question the lily's background. I didn't care if the lily was on the right side or the left side or anything else in between. I didn't care if the lily was a Republican or a Democrat. I didn't care if the lily was Catholic or Protestant or something in between. What I saw with every fiber of my being, I saw its beauty. That is an image, I believe, for us to work toward, to see our Paschal life for what it is, to see our Paschal life as the beauty that we are called into to see. When we look at this gospel, and then the one for Easter Day, which is Mary Magdalene herself, if we follow those women to the tomb, if we have the courage to follow those women to the tomb once again, and if we have the courage to bend down and peer into that emptiness, there is something for us to behold. For the tomb is not something that we can change or paint a different color or wish that it was different. It is not a space that we need to control or decorate or put somebody else in. It is a space for us to stop and to behold its emptiness. Because we are followers of the one who wasn't there. We do not stop following the one who wasn't there. We are the followers of the one who spread beauty from that moment to the entire world. for centuries, we've been able to come to terms with the gift, the grace, the mercy, the healing, the hope, the understanding, the wherewithal of the one who wasn't there. So what I'd like to have you do on Easter, make sure that you take some time in your prayer at the Easter Vigil. Stay up all night that night if you have to, and make sure that you can say for yourself that that place of encounter where the women were, that place of encounter where Peter peered in and beheld the emptiness, make sure that you understand in a new way, whether or not you are on a cane, a walker, or if you're entering into dementia or ill health or Parkinson's or whatever it is in your body and mind is going on. But you've got to make sure that on Easter morning for yourself, that you peer into that place of emptiness to behold for yourself and see within you the gift of that empty tomb. Because that is where your heart lies. And everything that you are looking for in your life comes from there. If you are disturbed or worried or anxious about the future, if you don't know where to go or what to do or what to say, you got to go back there and peer into that place to see for yourself its beauty, its glory, its illuminated, energized emptiness. Because that is a place of our freedom. You profess your vows again today. And as I said in a couple of sentences today, that you've got to be careful what you say or what you profess. Because God can still grab at your heart and shake you around and change you. God can still grab you by the heart and open you up and allow you to see things that you've never seen before, and to come to terms with things in the spiritual life that you have never known before, and to see within your own heart and relationships in life the goodness and grace that God desires for you before you fill your own tomb. I want you to make sure that you see its beauty. And I want to make sure that you know that's what your real profession is all about. It is an affirmation of your baptismal life, but it is also an affirmation of the life that you will behold in heaven. Just maybe, if you can sit with that and pray with that empty tomb, you just might, along the path, see a lily. and you will stop your walker, and you will behold it, and it will change your life. Allow, too, some companions along the way to that empty tomb. I want you to befriend Mary Magdalene again. She's incredible. The first person to proclaim the resurrection, Mary Magdalene, of all people, and recognize that the proclamation of that empty tomb came from somebody who was powerless in the society. She was ill of 7 demons. She had been cured, freed of those seven demons. And she became a witness to the reality of the healing gift of Jesus Christ. But her real place in the scriptures is in the emptiness of that tomb. That's her real place. And from there, it took centuries for her to get the stain off of her reputation for some crazy reason. But she's the one why we are here today. Because she saw and believed and told other people, and they believed it too. Imagine if she had not seen or just kept all of that to herself. Sit with her before Easter Day. Allow her to change your sight and your insight. Allow her to change your silence and your words. Allow her to change your perspective on other people and the ways in which most especially you come down hard on yourself. Allow her to befriend the gift of your restless heart and all the ways in which you desire to be something more than you are. Allow her to be an example of how the empty tomb changes us. The gift of our baptismal life, my sisters, is simply to be transformed. Nothing else. And that's how Jesus is going to chase us down in the end. We come today, this Friday afternoon, to come to a conclusion of our time together. I want to say thank you for your commitment. I want to say thank you for the ways in which you have been fearless in your profession. I think we need fearlessness more than ever. We cannot be afraid of death or our future or of our other sisters or the planet or our politics or our families or any other thing that wants to squelch us. We have to be fearless because we have walked with the disciples and the Marys, Mary Magdalene and others, to the gift of that empty tomb. I know in older age, fearlessness sometimes turns in on itself, and we become afraid. We become afraid of change. We become afraid of the loss of our friendships and families. We don't want to move again. We struggle with our possessions. We wonder if we give them away, does that mean we're dying? What we are called to, my sisters, is to be fearless in our profession of faith. And the way we live it and understand it and call it our own. Be fearless. Don't let stuff get you down or make you angry. Remember yesterday, I think it was yesterday, who knows what day it was. I talked about my first profession and about not being an old fart priest, remember? Don't do that. Don't do that. Be fearless in what you believe. Tend to each other with tenderness. My sisters, you are all that you have. Befriend each other. Listen to the worry. Console the saddened. Uplift the hurting. And befriend the sorrowful. You are all you have. Be grateful for everything. Be grateful for everything. Pray for the church on Easter. Pray for the war-torn nations. Pray for those who have bombed families. And pray for the children who can't see or walk or hear because of the bombing. Pray for the widow and the orphan. Pray for the one who's autistic and the one who struggles learning. Pray for your enemies. Pray for the dead. Pray for your family members and the sisters that have gone before you. Pray for Francis, our Pope. Pray for Jeffrey, your bishop. Pray for the ways in which the church needs to still work through the issues of power and false power. Pray with the gift that has been given you, the way you see and understand, the way you read and interpret, the ways in which God is calling you more deeply into prayer. The first night when we gathered, I told you that you needed, or not needed, but I invited you into an exchange of hearts with Jesus. I'm going to hold you to that. Because on Easter Sunday, what Jesus most desires is that he wants your heart to fill that empty tomb. He wants your heart to know that everything you need is inside that. That freedom is yours. That love is the real purpose of your life. So, on Easter, also remember me in our ministry at Notre Dame and the priests and brothers who are in our medical facility as well. Pray for those who lead us and those who will follow us. Pray as if you've never prayed before to see beauty in your life. And maybe on Easter morning, together we just might be walking down the hall and we may stop and see a lily, and we will remember each other. Maybe we will walk down the aisle or a hallway on Easter morning and we will see a lily and we will remember each other. And then we will understand that the empty tomb is our home. God give you peace. Thank you so much.